It's about, to continue with knowing yourself, it's about constant reflection, right? And for me, it took a lot of trial and error as to what I truly want to and am meant to be doing, right? There's 9 key components that I found overlapped in the people's stories. We take the different clouds and we say, are you living your life in this personal development area according to the person who everybody else wants you to be, or according to the person who you want to be and should be, right? And we try to optimize a certain number of those areas through different processes. This is perfect for that. So to figure out the idea, or even if you're an entrepreneur and you do have an idea, you want to know how your life is going to feel as you're going through the entrepreneurial journey, because keeping track of the personal side in how everything is going in your life is going to be overlooked.
And that is coming up next on Bootstrapping Your Dreams Show, so stay tuned. So, the big question is this: how are ambitious people like us, who don't have a lot of resources, did not go to Ivy League colleges, were not born into wealth, how do we become resourceful enough, use our creativity, our dedication, and a little bit of crazy to bootstrap our way to realizing our dreams? Whether it is launching a new company, launching a new app, or making it to the top of the corporate ladder. That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. We have created a tremendous community of bootstrappers, entrepreneurs, and professionals who are ambitious, resourceful, and want to get things done. We brainstorm, support, and help each other out. So come join us. Navigate to bootstrapping.group, join today, and get the Startup Founders Technology Accelerator video series absolutely free. If you enjoy this video, then do let us know by hitting that like button now. Or if you want us to improve our content, then go ahead and hit that thumbs down button and give us your honest feedback in the comment section below. Here at TetraNoodle, we are passionate about entrepreneurship, technology, and innovation. Every week, we bring you insightful and engaging videos, interviews, tips, tricks, and strategies to help you grow your business or rise in your corporate profession. If you're new here, please do consider subscribing, and do not forget to hit that bell icon so that you are notified when we publish new content. Hello and welcome to this new episode of Bootstrapping Your Dreams Show. I'm your host Manuj Aggarwal, and today we'll be talking with Jordan Gross. Jordan is a young entrepreneur who's in charge of helping people with their new projects through his company called cloudnine. Jordan's project is to guide new entrepreneurs to a more professional route to success. And to do this, Cloud9 Living helps them discover what their true passions and talents are. Jordan is not only the Chief Executive Officer of Cloud9 Living, he's also the author of book Getting Comfy, Your Morning Guide to Daily Happiness. And he offers wonderful advice on business and startups, and he's also a TEDx speaker. Today, Jordan is here to talk to us about his path and his projects. Welcome, Jordan.
Hey Manuj, it's great to be here. Thank you so much for that warm intro. I'm excited to be talking, and let's do this thing, man. I'm so grateful to be chatting with you today.
Yeah, no, I want to add a little bit here. This is actually the second interview we're recording because we lost the previous the recording.
I didn't know if you wanted me to share that or not.
Yeah, no. In all transparency, but you know what? Like, I had such a good time talking to you. I had just a wonderful time getting to know you on LinkedIn, and we exchanged some messages after that. So I'm just glad I got another chance, although it's an unfortunate circumstance, but I'm just happy that I got another chance to speak to you. So This is our second recording, and I hope it turns out as good or better than the previous one. So let's dive in. So let's get to know you, Jordan. Tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get started in entrepreneurship? Tell us about your journey.
So to add to what your host Manuj said, he and his team were so gracious about having to do this interview again, and they were totally transparent in saying that they lost the audio, and that's what you want out of a host, somebody who you're listening to and taking this journey with. You want them to admit their mistakes, admit their flaws, and tell you about it. So But like you said, it's not a mistake because we get the opportunity to chat with one another again. We get to make it better. We get to push forward, be positive about it, and view it as another opportunity as opposed to a failure, which it really was not, especially because of how you handled it. So I'm just really grateful for that. And I thank you and your team for the way that you approach the situation.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah. So with that being said, my entrepreneurial journey started when I was 7 years old. And when I tell this story, I never would have thought that it would have been the hint as to what I value in life and why I'm going in the direction that I am, but it really is. And when I was 7, it was September 20th, 2001.
Mm-hmm.
And I live in New York City. So if you think for just a moment about what happened in the New York area and really like what shocked the world in 2001, it was that 9 days prior on September 11, 2001, the World Trade Center was attacked and we had that devastation. As a 7-year-old, I didn't really know what was going on geopolitically and all that stuff, but I did know that people were upset. And I knew that my parents were upset and my friends' parents were upset and my teachers were upset. And that made my peers upset, my friends upset, because we didn't know what the heck was going on. I wanted to make people happier. So on that day, I said, hey, can we make a lemonade stand just a week after? And I made a lemonade stand and we sold lemonade, but it wasn't to make a shiny quarter or to, drink all the lemonade and eat all the cookies. It was actually to raise money for the families in my neighborhood affected by 9/11. So it was this entrepreneurial experience, yes, but it was also this adding value to other people's lives sort of idea that I had. And in everything that I do with my entrepreneurial journey now, it always has to add some sort of value to other people's lives and have this sort of like social impact component. So fast forwarding to college, like my first entrepreneurial experience there was with an Alzheimer's awareness group. And it was because my grandfather was affected by Alzheimer's. I saw that there was no support at the undergraduate level where I went to school at Northwestern. So when there's a problem like that, I said, you know what, why not me? Why can't I go and create this support system for people who are affected by Alzheimer's as undergrads, their grandparents, their parents, friends' parents, whatever it may be. So that's what I did. And it was just, an effort to raise awareness, and it was an effort to raise some money. And I fell in love with the concept of building a team, and I fell in love with the concept of leadership, and I fell in love with the concept of growing something from the ground up. And I fell in love with the concept of building relationships, and finally coming back to that 7-year-old, just adding value to other people's lives. So that is at the forefront of everything that I do now, even though my entrepreneurial journey has transitioned to more of like a solopreneur kind of journey through my books and my coaching and my writing and my speaking. Everything I'm trying to do is all about building a better life for other people, which in turn makes me happy and builds that better life for me as well.
That's awesome. A great story. And I remember that incident clearly. I think most people do, and exactly where we were, how the news came about. And so after that shock, helping people in that environment and thinking of this lemonade stand, it just shows how what kind of a person you are. And you know what, like I will say it has really hit me as well. Like, I struggled with marketing and I struggled with sales for a long time, and I couldn't really understand what the heck to do, what to say, what to how to talk to people. And then as I started to learn, it's not about selling something, it's about helping people. It becomes so much easier, so much smoother. In fact, you really enjoy talking to people, and it's not about selling at all now. And that's what you're trying to convey, which is really, really powerful.
It's building relationships. I'm sure this is nothing new to you and your listeners, but it is truly building relationships. It's building friends, and it's using our number one asset in this world, what separates us from any other sort of being or creature that inhabits this world. It's our ability to communicate and focus on building that communication, that trust, and ultimately, people like you, they'll want to buy your products because they want to support you or they want to see what you have to offer. And, then you get a little bit of momentum because what you have to offer is truly worthwhile. It's truly valuable. Mm-hmm. And then next thing you know, everything's coming together.
Yeah. Not only that, like, to your point, like if you have a wide network and people who like you, who trust you, it doesn't have to be that they will buy your product. They may refer somebody else, because now at least, they know, if they refer a friend or family, they will be taken care of, because they know that, they are sending that referral to a caring person, right?
Exactly. And the way, just continuing to expand, the way that you become that person who gets, referrals and things like that is by always being your true and authentic self, whether that's how you present yourself in business, how you present yourself online when you're trying to market, and build your personal and professional brand. It always comes down to, are you really focusing on being intentional in every single moment and living according to your values? And if you do that, then you're smooth sailing.
Yeah, awesome. And so let's dive a little bit deeper into your journey. So you said that, you fell in love with building teams and leadership, and then you pivoted, I guess, to become a solopreneur. So, and you're doing a lot of writing books and delivering speeches and everything. So was that like a natural thing that happened with you, or you noticed something as you were building teams that, your calling was somewhere else with writing and stuff like that? So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I kind of equate it to my athletic journey as well. So just to clarify and backtrack a little bit, soccer was always my sport, and I was the goalie. So I was the leader from the back, and I was the one who was communicating and telling everyone where to be and motivating, and I was always the captain, and I loved that team component. Mm-hmm. But I needed something that was my own as well. So I threw shot put and discus in track and field. So that was like my solopreneur type ventures, where it was totally on me, and I just had to focus and put the work ethic and intensity into just me and building what I could be doing with that. So it's kind of like I had these two separate kind of ideas, one where I was working to grow and build something with other people, one where I was growing and building something on my own. And that's what happened with entrepreneurship. So like I said, my first companies were with teams, but then I actually went into the corporate world, and I took a job in the restaurant industry, where it was very team oriented, but it was a little bit chaotic. So when I quit that, I think it was like, okay, no more soccer. Let me go throw shot put. So let me go off and do something on my own. So after that, I went and I wrote my first book and just fully immersed myself in this world of personal development, noticing that in order to build a sustainable business around book writing, you needed to do more book writing, you needed to do coaching, and you needed to do speaking and podcasting and all this good stuff. So that's what I did. And sure, I have people that help me along the way, but it's not like I'm sitting with anybody any longer in meetings and whatnot right in front of me face to face, building and growing a team, building and growing different aspects that we all take control of. I have a pretty clear understanding of what I am good at now. I'm good at writing, content, people, relationships, communication. And then I've got people to help me with what I'm not good at, the tech side of things, the money side of things. So yeah, I'm very aware of my weaknesses, but I mainly try to focus on my strengths.
Yeah, that's a very interesting point. Personal development is something that I didn't even know, like there was such a thing as personal development, because you become an adult from a child, and that was development for me. But once you get into this world, you really understand that I wish there was a manual that came with humans, like, okay, this is how you operate these things. And that's the piece that is missing, and which is the personal development that you're talking about. So I highly recommend any entrepreneur, especially, to go through this exercise, because it will tell you a lot about yourself. And as you said, self-awareness is a huge piece, because you really need to accept your weaknesses and things that you're not good at, because only then you can flourish. Otherwise, you'll end up trying to do more than you can handle, right?
Yeah. And you know what? It's about, to continue with knowing yourself, it's about constant reflection, right? And for me, it took a lot of trial and error as to what I truly want to and am meant to be doing, right? But in each of these trials, it was a very cognizant understanding of, okay, what do I enjoy about this experience? But even further than that, how does this experience make me feel? And do I like the feeling associated with this experience?
Yeah, yeah.
Was a certain feeling that I did enjoy about a certain experience, then I knew that I needed that feeling to come from whatever I was going to go ahead and do next.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. That's
So it's
amazing.
not just thinking, okay, did I like trying out the starting a company in electronics? It's, did I like how I felt when I was trying out a company in electronics? And the more you can base your understanding of who you are off of that, off of the internal, I think the more fulfilled you'll be in what you decide to pursue next.
Yeah, so true, so true. Just to unpack that a little bit for some people who are on this journey. It's not just about the adrenaline rush that you sometimes get, by participating in an activity. It's a, as you said, like it's a really deep sort of introspection about what kind of feeling you're getting and what is the source of this feeling, and if you can directly associate it with the business activity or the person you met, that's the level of introspection you can get, you can do, and then get really deep answers, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Awesome.
Exactly.
So let's talk about, sorry, were you saying something?
No.
Okay. Let's talk about cloud-nine living. And, I've been really fascinated with it. And I'd love to know what is the origin of this, and get a little bit deeper into it, because I know, cloud-nine, there's a whole framework behind it. So I'd love to get into that and have you share a little bit of, behind the scenes of this whole framework that you have developed.
Yes, of course. So my journey to Cloud9 began November 2018. And I was working on all that Getting Comfy stuff, the first book that I wrote. And it was sort of starting to like go downhill a little bit, in that I wasn't super charged by it anymore. And I didn't, I wanted to switch up who I was coaching, and I wasn't really speaking on podcasts anymore or doing talks or anything like that. So this fortuitous occurrence came right at the right time. And in November 2018, I was in an Uber on a Sunday evening, and it was a normal Sunday. I just watched football with my buddies, and but instead of talking about, like football and fun stuff, we talked about life, and we talked about death, and we talked about love and purpose and meaning and fulfillment. And it got pretty deep. So in the Uber ride home, I was just sitting in the back seat reflecting, and I wasn't talking, which is rare because I usually ask the Uber driver a lot of questions, and I try to make him or her feel different than most other passengers do, where they probably just sit in the back and don't say anything. I like to chat. But today I wasn't. I was just kind of sitting there thinking, until I saw this boat in the East River while we were driving on the FDR. And the boat was called Cloud9. I saw the phrase Cloud9 on the side of the boat. And I thought, wow, that's a really cool name for a boat. It must mean that the boat has joyous occasions and people are happy on the boat, right? But instead of just thinking to myself, I actually blurted out to the Uber driver, hey, you see that boat, Cloud9? Like, what does Cloud9 mean to you? And this is when it all came to be, because he told me stories about the day he got married, the day he had children, the day he remembered some sort of childhood memory of playfulness that just made him felt so free and alive, right? And in telling these stories to me of when he was on Cloud9, I kind of said, okay, there are momentous life occasions that we all probably have where we feel like we are on Cloud9. So let me dive into this a little bit further. So for the last year, I've been asking people, what does Cloud9 mean to you? How do you have a Cloud9 morning? How do you have a Cloud9 day? How do you have a Cloud9 month? How do you have a Cloud9 year? How do you have a Cloud9 life? Right? And throughout all the stories that I've heard, I've picked up on two main things, and it's just like the Uber driver. It's that one, there are definitely a series of pivotal moments that we all sort of think about when we think of that cloud9 experience. But two, what I found is that there's also a set of principles that weave all of these cloud9 experiences together. And what I did was, instead of saying, okay, here are the principles and here are the stories, I'm going to share it in a book, I decided to be a little bit different and sort of carve out my own niche in the personal development world by making the book into an allegory, where I told the story of a guy who is basically not living a cloud9 life because he made decisions that were focused on society and the people around him. But I show the life he could have lived, his cloud9 life, that's based on his gut, his intuition, and his heart. So that's the book side. And then the business side, in helping entrepreneurs, helping anybody really, it's not just entrepreneurs, and helping anybody live a more cloud9 life, we sort of take the different clouds, I call them. There's 9 key components that I found overlapped in the people's stories. We take the different clouds and we say, are you living your life in this personal development area according to the person who everybody else wants you to be, or according to the person who you want to be and should be, right? And we try to optimize a certain number of those areas through different processes.
That's great. That's awesome. It's wonderful, when these epiphanies come, they can come from any source. As you said, it started with an Uber ride, and and we have heard of a lot of stories where people got these genius ideas in their sleep, in their dreams, and everything. So the more you open up, the more you are ready to receive it. It just comes. It shows up, right?
Yeah, that's right. And you know what? Finding, that one thing, that meaning, that fulfillment, that purpose, it most likely will just show up like that. But it's about being intentional and working on yourself so that you're giving yourself the best opportunity for it to just arrive, right? The more you chase it and actively search for it, the more stress and anxiety and pressure you're most likely going to put on it.
Yeah,
exactly. So rather than focusing on the one thing, focus on the journey, focus on being the person you want to be, and then you'll figure out where the meaning lies at the end of the day, right? Yeah. So that's what the personal development journey in finding your cloud9 is really all about. It's the patience in realizing the meaning, as opposed to just doing some 2-week, I'll guarantee you find your purpose in 2 weeks kind of thing.
Yeah, amazing. So, do you think we can quickly sort of touch base on these 9 clouds quickly and talk about maybe something you can share with the audience that they can incorporate into their lives, or some value bomb that you can drop now?
Yeah. So I'll share each cloud, and then what we do for each cloud when we begin to work on it. It's 4 steps. But basically, so you have cloud 1 is playfulness. You need to incorporate some sense of play into your everyday, into your life, right? Need to unleash that inner child. Number 2 is camaraderie. Focus on your relationships, your friendships, having people in your life who are like-minded, having people in your life who challenge you, right? Sometimes we overlook the importance of our friends, but it's truly they're everything aside from, family.
Yeah.
Number 3 is love, right? And it could be love of another person, but it could also be love of a certain, hobby. It could be love of anything, right? You could be a big sports fan. You just need to be totally encapsulated by something, right? You have to have that sensation about something in your life. Most often it's relationships, though.
Yeah.
Number 4 would be a sense of responsibility. You need something in your life that you're responsible for, whether it's growing a business or growing a plant. You need to feel that sense of responsibility so that it's not just about you, it's about something much greater, right? Number 5 is going to be empathy, right? So empathy is this concept where, again, we're thinking about not only ourselves, but we're thinking about other people. How can we see things from a different perspective, right? Number 6 is going to be benevolence. So benevolence is, how am I involved in my community? Am I making a bigger impact through volunteering, through charity, through fundraising? What am I doing to truly give back to other people? Number 7 is going to be a true career calling or aspiration. There has to be meaningful work in your life, whether that is your 9 to 5 or a side hobby. There has to be something that you're working toward that has a much greater end result. Number 8 is going to be, so number 8 is some sort of realization, right? And it's the realization that, this is, spoiler for the book, but number 8 is the realization that the journey to cloud9, you're on cloud9 the entire time. It's just that throughout all of these principles that you're working on, you're truly enjoying working on yourself. You're loving yourself. You're being the person who you want to be around the most. And then you have this realization that that's what it's all about, right? To take it down more granular, on a day-to-day basis, the realization is a cloud9 moment. It's maybe a moment of calm, a moment of peace, a moment of true euphoria that you get to experience and realize every single day. And then cloud9 is resurgence. Resurgence, it's this opportunity to reinvigorate your life, to live according to this newfound mentality that you have, that every single moment counts, that every single day counts, that each experience counts. And by focusing on these different parts of your life, you will be way more ready to have this resurgence and transcend into whatever it is that you are meant to be.
This is great. Awesome stuff. So it sounds like to me that this could be sort of a prerequisite for an entrepreneur, because as you said it, once you really understand what's this whole journey is all about, it becomes so much easier. It becomes so much enjoyable. It brings you joy, whether the outcome is positive or negative. So do you resonate with that? Do you agree with that? Do you position it that way, that this is something that entrepreneurs should really learn and focus on?
I truly do. I think that whether you want to be an entrepreneur and don't have an idea, right, that this is perfect for that. So to figure out the idea, or even if you're an entrepreneur and you do have an idea, you want to know how your life is going to feel as you're going through the entrepreneurial journey, because keeping track of the personal side in how everything is going in your life is going to be overlooked, but this is going to make you more cognizant of reflecting on that sense of self at all times.
Awesome. That's great. And so do you coach people on this framework? Do you teach it, or how or should they go get the book and then how does that work? How do you work with the entrepreneurs?
So the book is the first place to go, because I'll talk about this concept in just a moment and remind me. It's called Tivatation.
Okay.
The book is the first place to go because I really try to promote Tivatation for anybody who's learning about personal development. I am team fiction when it comes to life lessons. I love self-help, don't get me wrong, but I think a lot of the times we need to uncover some of these lessons for ourselves, as opposed to just being told the advice all the time, right? So the way that we do that is by using our Tivatation. So the first thing I would say is, in reading this book, use your Tivatation to understand each of the cloud9 components and figure out how your life should look in each one of them. So Tivatation is split into 4 categories. Imagination. So first, you're going to imagine what the ideal life would look like for you in regard to playfulness, for instance. And you're going to write about it. You're going to visualize it. What does play bring to your life? Then what you're going to do is you're going to use a little bit of creativity. How can you reverse engineer this dream that you have into the present day? So how are you creatively going to get there? Mm-hmm. The next thing is going to be interpretation. How do you interpret what play means as you go through this process for your life, right? So what does it look like on a day-to-day basis? What would it look like if you truly had play in your life, at all times? And then finally, you're going to implement. This is when trial and error comes in. This is when assessment comes in. This is when reflection comes in. And you're going to, try to install this version of play that you created for yourself into your life. And you do that with different components of the Cloud9. And that's how you use the Tivatation in order to get to that dream, that Cloud9 state. So that's what I would say. First, try to do that, but then it's that's what we would be doing together for the coaching. It would be working with one another to unleash what the Cloud9 is in a certain number of these categories.
Awesome. That's great. And so we only have a few minutes left, but I want to ask you, can you share any success stories of entrepreneurs that have gone through this and experienced some amazing results?
Yeah. So, I think my favorite story is about a Cloud9 moment that was uncovered from a buddy of mine, mm-hmm. who we were just talking about where he was lacking, right? And it's my favorite story because his company is so successful and everything is going right, but there was just something that was missing in his life. Mm-hmm. And we went through all the different categories. We went through a lot of different things, and we realized that each day he was so busy running his business and making it successful that he forgot to take some time for himself. He forgot that play component. And it turned out that all he needed to do to feel more of a sense of purpose was go outside and kick a soccer ball around for a little bit. Oh. Soccer is my favorite sport, obviously. So that's why the story resonates so much. But it took time to figure that out, right? Like I said, you have to be patient in figuring out what's missing or why you're stuck. But once you continue to work on yourself, it gets a lot easier as to finally realizing and having that epiphany moment, that Cloud9 moment of, hey, I need this in my life in order for me to be a little bit more wholly fulfilled.
Yeah, that's great. Well, a wonderful story, wonderful talk. And I think it turned out actually better than last time. So that's a bonus. Yeah. How do we get in touch with you if somebody wants to work with you? How do they reach out?
Yeah, so the number one place to find me is LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. It's always going to be me on there. It's just Jordan Gross on LinkedIn. Then if you want to learn more about anything that I'm doing, it's journeytocloud9.com, all spelled out, journey, cloudnine.com. Mm-hmm. And there's info on the book, the coaching, anything you need. And you can feel free to reach out. I love chatting with any and everybody. And like I said, it's all about adding value in any way that I can. So awesome. Thank you for allowing me to add value. I hope it was helpful. And I'm glad we did this again because
very, very helpful. Thank you so much for being so gracious. And I can attest to this, anybody who's interested in discovering and learning more about themselves and, making things easier on their entrepreneurial journey, please do talk to Jordan. He's a gem of a person. So get in touch with him.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you. And that's all for now. Until next time. Now, if you're an entrepreneur or a career professional, then I invite you to join our growing community. Navigate to bootstrapping.group. As a welcome bonus, you will get the Startup Founders Technology Accelerator video series and Mastering Your Inner Game video series absolutely free. This series of short videos address some core issues which are instrumental in helping you move forward in your business or career. The videos are yours to view and share for free. No obligations or strings attached, except for one. You have to take action and implement it. So join us today, navigate to bootstrapping.group. If you want more engaging videos and insightful interviews with industry's thought leaders, then check out the other videos we have picked for you. The link is right there. And if you want to be notified about our new content, please do consider subscribing to our channel.